Welcome to a bright summer day in Beth Shan, a city which has more than 4,000 years of history, from the time of the Egyptians to the Canaanites to Saul and Jonathan, Alexander the Great, the Roman Empire, and part of the Muslim Empire. Immediately around us, you see the impressive remains of a theater. If you look toward the large brown tell in the distance, you see a street called the Cardo running from us to it, flanked by columns on both sides. Just before the street reaches the tell, it crosses another major street, the Decumanus, and on that corner to the right are remains of one of the city temples. To the left of the Cardo are many ancient shops and businesses, and also an unfortunate smudge, sorry. And even further left is the triangular roof covering the Roman baths. Now let's go down to the middle of the Cardo for a different perspective. We're standing in the street of Beth Shan, a city that was built several centuries before the time of Christ. In fact, in the time of Saul and Jonathan, about 1050 BC, this city was here. The Philistines owned it for a while. Many different nations owned it. There's remains of Canaanites, of Egyptians. Depending on where you're looking at to start in this 360 video, if you'll find the big mound, the big tell that goes up several hundred feet on one end of the tell, you see the staircase to the right of it, 360 steps up. That tell is unusual because it holds generations of the civilizations. And what's unusual is that the sites on top of that tell are the oldest sites. There's remains from 2000 BC up on the top from the Canaanite and the Egyptians. Usually in a tell, the higher up you are on the tell, the more recent it is, and the further down you dig, the more ancient it is. But in this case, it's reversed. 2000 BC up on top of the tell, and then as you come down to street level where we are, this was a city from, say, like the time of Christ, and even later. It was destroyed largely in 749 AD by an earthquake, as many cities in the Jordan Valley were destroyed in that same earthquake. But you have here, almost 3,000 years of history, and the most recent history is on this level. We're standing on what's called the Cardo, the major north-south avenue. Actually, it's kind of a double Cardo in a sense where we are, and then to the left, to my left anyway, you look down the row of pillars, you see mosaics, sidewalks there as well. This is the main north-south avenue of the city. And then if you go down where the people are, between us and the tell, that's the intersection with the Decumanus, which is the major east-west artery of any city. And most of the Roman and Greek cities were laid out in the same pattern, so that no matter what city you were in, if you're a Roman soldier, say, and you went to a new city, it was built on this plan, then you knew where everything was, because most of the cities were the same. And so you have the temple down there at the corner, as in many cities, many temples, and in other cases. You have the business districts as you spin more to your left from here. If you look over to the gray doorways over here and the gray walls, you see some of the richest parts of the city, what might be the Fifth Avenue, so to speak, of this city. Keep on going around to the left. You see up the little roof, kind of the cream-colored roof there, is over the baths, the Roman baths, the hot, the cold, the sauna, kind of the spa of that time. And then you keep on going to the left, and you look all the way down this the rest of this street, up toward the end of the city up there where you see the terrace where the people are. Just to the left of that terrace, you see the theater, where they had about 2,000 people could be there. And then you look on to the left, and you see the rest of the. So again, this is one of the major cities for really almost 2 or 3 millennia. And many different people came through here. It was called at different times Beth Shan. During the time of Saul, Saul and Jonathan fought the Philistines, and they lost the battle in 1 Samuel 31 on Mount Gilboa. If you look over again to the right of the big tell, you see that's toward the Jezreel Valley, and when they were killed, then they brought their bodies and hung them on the walls in Beth Shan as well. And then during the time of Alexander the Great, the city was called Eleutheropolis, the city of freedom or free men. Then later on, during the time more of the Romans, it was called Scythopolis, or the Scythians lived here, the Scythians. So again, it's gone through several different generations, and later it came to be known as Beth Shan again, which it is now. Also, one other feature about this street, if you look down again toward the tell, you see that the street is kind of crowned. The water, when it would fall on it, would run to the sides, and then it would go into holes, kind of the gutters, drains, and then it would come back, be funneled back underneath the crown part of the street, and then run on out in kind of a ditch under the street. So a pretty efficient system here that we have.